What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Contrarian. Today I will be talking about Warren Buffett and the immense purchases Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway have made with some of their largest holdings. They've added significantly to a lot of their largest holdings. They've also added a few that they did not have previously. Basically, I will be examining the quantity Buffett has purchased, the quantity of shares he's purchased in relation to how much cash he had on hand. He's dramatically decreased the cash that he had on hand just in the last quarter. He's now at the lowest level in cash in over a year with Berkshire Hathaway. So basically, with all of this, I'll be attempting to answer, does Buffett think in, not using his words, but just based off of his actions, does Buffett think that the bottom has been put in for this bear market? Or does he in fact think that it might have a little longer to go and that, that we're still in a bear market, but he's purchasing these quality companies nonetheless? So I'll just dive into his largest purchases right away. Obviously, his largest purchase was already with the largest position that Berkshire Hathaway had to begin with. It's with Apple. Basically, it comes as no surprise that the Oracle of Omaha added more to his large position in Apple. Currently, it's a 132.7 billion market value, which accounts for 38.5% of Berkshire's invested assets as of May 16th. So this is a very large position for Buffett. He has over a third of Berkshire's invested assets in Apple. So he's very optimistic as to the future of Apple, despite the massive sell-off that tech has had in the last 5-6 months. The Nasdaq has gone down roughly 30%. The Nasdaq is now in a bear market. But Buffett is very optimistic on Apple, as can be seen with his purchases of a significant quantity of Apple shares. Now, moving down the list, he purchased a lot of Chevron as well. So Buffett is big into energy. It doesn't come as a surprise that he added to his position in Chevron. There's obviously a big disconnect that can be seen out there in terms of where the price of oil is at and where the valuation of oil producers is at. And in relation to where they typically have been in the past, it could be said that oil producers are still somewhat undervalued to where energy prices are at. So the market might be pricing in lower energy prices, and therefore, pricing the producers a bit lower than they might be given a more generous valuation in times past. So Buffett might be taking advantage of this opportunity in terms of purchasing a large amount of Chevron as well as Occidental, as we'll see later on. He also bought into Hewlett Packard, adding this as a new position. So this came out in a new filing in April that Berkshire Hathaway Securities and Exchange Commission, they filed it with the SEC, showed that Buffett had taken a sizable stake in HP, the personal computer and printer company once known as Hewlett Packard. So basically, Buffett again bought a tech company that he sees value in, that he can understand very well. That's very key for Buffett. He really has to understand companies and just how they function as a business. So he does not like buying companies where the business model is a bit murky. He really likes buying into well-established companies where the business model is very simple and easy to understand. With oil producers, it's simply they explore and develop and produce energy. With Apple, it's very simple to understand at this point. Apple is a very well-established, massive organization, tech company which produces personal tech products, and HP fits into that same category apparently for Buffett. And then we get down to Occidental Petroleum. Again, Buffett bought into another energy producer. This could also fit in with what I previously said about energy producers being a bit undervalued in relation to where oil prices and gas prices are right now. So Buffett might be taking advantage of this. Buffett might, in effect, be saying, I don't personally think that energy prices are going to go down that sizably, and so I'm going to take advantage of this undervaluation of these companies relative to where energy prices are and where I think they're going to go in the future. And this next purchase Buffett made comes as a bit of a surprise. He bought into a sizable portion of Activision Blizzard, so into a gaming company. This is new for Buffett. With a lot of other gaming companies out there, it's a bit more murky in terms of the business model with Activision Blizzard. Apparently, that's not the case with Buffett. So he did actually purchase a sizable amount of Activision Blizzard. He actually purchased 9.5% of Activision's outstanding shares. So looking down at this chart on Whale Wisdom, we can see that he added a significant amount to his Apple position, a significant change in the number of shares. So now, according to Whale Wisdom, this is now 42% of his portfolio. So actually, it could be even higher than 38%, as was just referenced up in the Motley Fool article. But needless to say, it's north of 38%. So that's a very high conviction that Buffett has with regards to Apple. We can also see that he added to Chevron and Occidental, Activision Blizzard. Really, the only thing that Buffett cut was Kroger, which does come as a bit of a surprise, just given the nature of Kroger on the more consumer staple side. Maybe we're seen as a more defensive ploy stock to be in. Apparently, Buffett just thinks that might not be the place to be right now. So basically, the take on this video is, what is Buffett thinking right now? Why is Buffett so heavily buying companies out there which are, largely speaking, down heavily from their all-time highs? And this does come as a bit of a surprise because Buffett has been fairly pessimistic, since the beginning of COVID. He's kind of warned as to, really getting caught up in the hype out there. But maybe what Buffett is seeing is kind of what David Hunter has also pointed out, and just that so many people are extremely bearish right now. So many people are looking for lower lows in the market. So many people are banking on the market continuing to fall lower. And so as we can see from Buffett's cash reserves, it's lower than it has been for over a year. The only time it was lower was back in mid-2020, second quarter of 2020. It was significantly lower than where it is now, but we can take a look and see that it has dropped dramatically since the fourth quarter of 2021. So something must have changed in Buffett's mindset. And I'm just going to throw up a couple of charts that I think could play into this. And the first one has to do with a survey that the Bank of America put out. Basically, they took a general fund manager survey, and they can see, as can be seen on this chart, the cash levels are the highest since 9/11. So you have to go back past April of 2020, past in 2016, past even the great financial crisis. You have to go back to the period around 9/11 and the dot-com bubble, when there was an extreme amount of uncertainty in the market, to get to where we currently are in terms of the percentage of cash reserves on the sidelines. And I know it doesn't fluctuate very much. It goes between 3.5% all the way up to 8%. So this is not a very large fluctuation, but it does show when past bottoms were put in. It does generally correlate with that. So that could be something that Warren Buffett is looking at, saying, hey, everyone is so cautious right now. Everyone is so fearful right now. Now might be a time for me to be greedy, as Buffett has famously said before. Another thing that we can look at is in the same survey that Bank of America did. This is effectively global growth optimism is at a new record low, and you have to go back. You cannot go back and find when optimism was less than where it currently is. Apparently, it has never been this low. So general fund managers apparently are very pessimistic right now, and so they're very fearful right now. Therefore, they've acted on this fear. Buffett is likely taking advantage of this. Obviously, Apple is some 35% from its all-time highs. Same is very true for a lot of companies out there. So Buffett likely sees good buying opportunities, regardless of if the current sell-off that we're experiencing continues a bit longer. Now, another thing I will mention, I'm not as certain about Buffett's thoughts on this, but he might be anticipating somewhat of a change of course in the Fed's actions. So as David Hunter has pointed out, a lot of tightening has already occurred with regards to the bond market, raising rates significantly despite the Fed not really doing very much. The bond market has really already tightened dramatically. So Buffett could also be looking at this side of the coin as well, effectively saying that, hey, The tightening cycle is pretty much already gone as far as it can. Now it's time for a reversal. Therefore, it's time for me to go long equities. So these are just my thoughts about Buffett's purchases, these immense purchases he's made just recently. I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about Warren Buffett, why he's purchasing so many shares right now, why he's decreased his cash level by so much as well. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you liked this video, just consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing if you want to hear more, and I hope to see you guys all again at some point.